automatically start because that's just the way it is nowadays, I guess.
All right.
Excellent condition, and we're live. Yeah, boy, so weird how it does that now.
We are live.
Woot, woot.
Let's see. You can find us
Live on the
Share
YouTube.
us. Share us.
Are we live on the Facebook?
We're no. But now we are. Did you just get an alert?
Somebody want to, silence their phones? We're trying to do a television production here.
Yeah.
It's a very, very proper production.
It was actually an alert saying church chat is on.
Woohoo!
All
Aha!
right, better play the theme then,
Play the theme.
if I can.
It's church chat with Pastors Dan and Dave. Come hang out with us on our stream. It's Church Chat Wednesday.
You don't know what a joy it is to have that as a ringtone.
You have that as a ringtone. Can we monetize that and let people buy the theme song as a ringtone?
Probably, I think.
I'm just saying, it's about time we start getting some royalties.
That's right.
No, we didn't do
For
anything to
James's
write
work.
that song. We did no work
But we are the
whatsoever.
face of
But that's
church
right. That's right.
The church chat that we totally ripped off of Saturday Night Live.
Also
but-
did that.
Yes.
We have no original ideas.
Yeah.
I am Pastor Dan. This is Pastor Dave. James Adkins over there pushing the buttons and writing the music. And my favorite part is when he picks up some random instrument for the end every week and plays along with it just on the spot. Wonder what today's mystery instrument will be.
But he's got another one of those
Well, it's sitting around here.
kazooza bobs right there. But
Have you played on a cigar box yet?
I haven't.
You could do that.
that one there is Eddie Van Halen-ish.
It is. Yeah, the melodica.
That's Rastafarian right there.
It is very Rastafarian. So, welcome to Church Chat. Our guest in a little bit is going to be. I'm really excited for this. It's I call her Aunt Carol. She's actually was married to my dad's cousin, but her last name is Metzger, Carol Metzger, who is the CEO of Cancer Patient Services here in Hancock County, and really excited to talk with her in just a little bit. Before we get to that, how are you, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
My cat woke me up at 5:30 this morning for no reason whatsoever.
It's a problem.
I'm going to say something controversial.
Is it more controversial than you hate dogs?
Yes, because I'm going to encompass all
Animals?
of God's creatures into this. I have not yet had a pet that is better than not having a pet.
You mean one that completed you?
It just hasn't special pets out there somewhere, but I have not yet found a pet. Special pets out there somewhere, but I have not yet found a pet that has improved my life.
I would say our
any
last
way.
boxer is just awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate to tell you, Dan, but I think your bar for pets might be too high.
That a pet should improve my life.
That it should did you say?
It
complete
doesn't
you?
need to complete me. I'm complete. I feel. but enhance or I'm going to stop because we're going to lose viewers. But yes. So anyway, the cat not on my good list.
Not
right
on
now.
the good list.
So
Anyone who disagrees with Dan, feel free to put your comment in the comments over here. And
yes,
I'll let him know.
direct all emails to dcharles@stmarksville.org. Other reason I'm tired, and so I stayed up a little later than I should have last night watching a couple of things. First, I know you're not a big hockey guy necessarily. You do the hockey games sometimes.
Yeah, sure.
Right? Columbus Blue Jackets are in the Stanley Cup playoffs and played yesterday in what I believe was the longest playoff game in NHL history, at least in
Wow.
the modern era. Went to 5 overtimes, lasted 6.5 hours. It was crazy, and then they lost, which is a bummer.
That is
So I watched that, but then I'm hooked on this Netflix series called Home Game. Have you seen this yet?
Nope.
Home Game goes to all these different countries. I think they're in like Kyrgyzstan or however you say it, in one of them yesterday. And they talk about like the national sport of that country. So the national sport of the one I was watching yesterday, I don't know how to say the name of the sport, but here's what it is. It's 2 teams of 4, and they're riding horses, and instead of a ball, it's a goat carcass.
That's what I've seen.
And you have to pick up the goat carcass and put it in a hole on the other end of the field.
Yeah.
And people, they're like really into this. This is their sport. It's hard to not watch. Yeah. There's so many, and they go to all these different places, and they're national sports, and they're all like just mind blowing to me. But people get so into these things, and there's sports in these other countries where like we're worried right now, like Big Ten. Canceled yesterday for COVID and all. Like, want to keep our players safe. Like, people die, like playing these sports, and it's expected. Yeah. Like, we're worried somebody might get sick, and rightfully so. I'm not saying we shouldn't be, but they're like, don't care. Yeah. Like, I've trained my whole life for this, and it's probably going to kill me.
In the hole.
It's amazing.
Kelly says, "What's up, dorks?"
Hello, Kelly.
Hello, Kelly.
I'm going to take that affectionately.
I do. I do.
Yeah. So anyway, I stayed up watching that because I just couldn't turn it off. It was fantastic.
A fun fact: Heidi's, my wife's uncle Mo, is in the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Really?
Yes, Mo Roberts.
Mo Roberts.
He has an award for the best goalie, high school goalie in the nation. That award is called the Mo Roberts Award. He was a goalie, and the show that I'm hooked on right now is on Video Prime. That's what it is, and it
Prime
is,
Video.
Yes, Prime Video, and it is called Dates from Hell. And you can't look away.
It's another one of those you can't look away.
Yes.
I want to go back to the thing about the Mo Roberts Award.
Yes.
So, if there was an award named after you, what would it be an award for? What would the Dave Charles Award be for?
Getting out of carrying file cabinets upstairs.
Yes. Like, I don't know how you quantify that.
Blessing of the labor. Because I always am willing to pray for you guys when you do hard labor.
Whenever you're carrying anything heavy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So that would be it. What would yours be, Dan?
Man.
I know what it is. Mine would have something to do with golf. Hey, James, we went golfing I went golfing for the very first time with a lot of the Metzger clan, and
Did you beat Dan?
Here's the thing. I've never picked up a golf club before, and then I get there and these guys are like, I say, how do you do this? And they just say,
hit the ball. You go hit the ball.
So I take this club with a number 8 on it, and that was pretty much my club for most of the time.
But let's start with this though. You've never played. You've been to a driving range once. You're there with me, my dad, my brother, and the district superintendent.
And I only came in last by 2 strokes.
Which is, I'm impressed. I get up there at the very beginning, like, let me show you guys how it's done. Shot my first shot directly into the fence over on the side. Mm-hmm. And your first shot was a really good shot. I think you were the closest on the first shot. If I could have
just kept them all like that.
It was your first one ever. I was proud of you.
Here's the thing. If I wouldn't have tried to hand throw the one over the trees.
Yeah, you did try to do that.
I would have probably beat your dad.
You might have.
That would have been
He was not having his best golf game that day. He was not having his... I don't know that any of us have a good golf game, but...
Way to throw him under the bus, too.
Well, it was rough for all of us. Yeah. It was
a lot of fun, though.
Like, we played at Shady Grove. If you've not played there before, it's par 3. And, like, we were all shooting I shot somewhere in the 80s or something like that, which is not good. That would be a okay score at a real golf course. at Shady Grove, no bueno. So
That's about as real a golf as I want.
Yeah, it was fun though. We had a good time.
By the way, speaking of the awards, Kelly does say that that Dave's award should be for making pottery.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
You can have a pottery award.
Okay.
She's
I'll take it.
being very kind here.
She is.
We all went a different way.
We all went to laziness somehow, and Kelly's like, he
you
makes
guys
pots.
went to laziness.
Well, that's true. Yeah, we did. We went.
Thank you, Kelly.
I don't know what the Dan Metzger award would be. I don't know. I'll have to think about that one. I'm not like.
I can't think of anything either, boss.
Yeah, I bet.
Could we do one for James though?
Yeah, what would the James
the
Atkins
golden
award be?
pick or something?
The golden pick.
Because he just picks up anything.
He can just pick up any instrument and just start.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's pretty incredible.
Hey, I do have some chicken news.
Okay, I want to hear your chicken news.
Remember the one that I thought was a rooster?
Yes.
I was telling you about it.
Yes.
Well, yesterday I walked in, and this thing's really having a time at it. It's in the nesting box,
Yeah.
and it's just looking pretty uncomfortable. Thing shot out the biggest egg I've ever seen come from a chicken. The thing was like a hand grenade. It was so stinking big.
Probably a double yolk.
So apparently
The first
it is
one
a
to-
chicken.
Yes.
Not a
It is a hen.
yes. And
It is a chicken.
And now-
not a cow. It is
and
a
now I
chicken.
know why it makes those kung fu noises all the time, because it's making those big eggs.
There you go.
Yep.
You'll have to check it. Hold on. We used to get a lot of double yolks. Like
Yeah.
that's pretty common. So those are the big eggs.
So
All right.
this is related, I promise. I really need our kids to go back to school because the education I gave them this spring is beginning to show. I was making scrambled eggs from our chickens a couple days ago, and one of my children, I'll just leave it at one of my children, who's old enough to know better. I said, would you like some scrambled eggs? She said, no, I don't do dairy. So I didn't really know how to respond to that. It's like, you realize that this came from the chicken that's in your backyard. It's not dairy. Dairy is cow. And she was not having it. Nope. She swears eggs are dairy.
Huh.
So we need the kids to be educated, and I don't care how they do it.
You know, there is a summer backslide, and then if you put the pandemic into it, apparently you go back
So anyway.
farther.
I do have a little bit of church news before I forget and before we get to talking with Carol that I want to make sure that we know. August 26th, Grief Share is going to be starting back up. So if you are interested in Grief Share or you know someone who is, Grief Share is a program that helps people who are grieving, very Christian-based, and we're going to have groups of 10 or fewer and be able to spread out in the dock doing that. We'll hold as many sessions as we need to make sure that there's not too many people there. But it's a great program. So if you're interested in that, contact the church, contact me, contact Dave. We'll get you the info that you need to get signed up or to help a loved one get signed up for that. I know a lot of people are grieving, and it might be a great time to do something like that. Also, and I believe it's September 9th. Is that what I told you yesterday or the day before?
Yes.
Habitat?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Wednesday, I believe Wednesday, September 9th. We are, the Habitat build is on. It's an apostles build, which means it's churches primarily that are doing the work. Our day is going to be doing siding and insulation, I believe. And James, I haven't run this by you yet, but it's Wednesday, September 9th. Feels like we could do Church Chat live on location at the Habitat build.
If there's internet,
We can make there be internet.
Yeah, I mean, depending on how we do it, we could probably
We can
it
figure
out.
it out. If we have to do it on a phone, we can do it on a phone. We'll figure
We
it out.
can always tape it and upload
Yeah,
it later.
we could do that. We could do
Yeah.
that. But I just thought that could be kind of cool.
That
you
would
know?
be cool.
And so if you are interested in signing up for Habitat, we'd love to have you. Again, let us know. Put it in the comments. Send me an email. Send Dave an email, and we will get you hooked up with that.
Absolutely.
So,
Looks like we have a guest.
I think we are ready to talk with Carol Metzger. Carol, can you hear us?
Well, hold on.
Oh.
I got to bring her on here.
Bring her on.
Okay,
Hi, Carol.
Let's see. All right, now say hi.
Hi, how's everyone doing?
We're doing great.
We're
Thank
doing
you so
very
much
well.
for joining us.
Yes.
Carol Metzger. So we are, I always just call you Aunt Carol. It's a lot easier than trying to explain to everybody how we're related. And when I moved back here to town, it was the question I got most often was, "Oh, do you know Carol?" And it's like, "Yes, I know Carol." So you are the CEO of Cancer Patient Services. Is that correct?
That is
Got your
correct.
title right. So would you just share a little bit about Cancer Patient Services, maybe how you got involved, and why it's so close to your heart?
Sure, absolutely. So I've been with the organization for, 9.5 years now, which kind of sounds crazy to say, but we are a local agency. We serve cancer patients that live or work in Hancock County, and we provide what I'd call like wraparound services. So we don't really do anything medical, but we help individuals with their medical bills. We do some financial assistance. We have medical supplies and equipment. We have a full-time patient navigator that helps people kind of work their way through bills or Social Security disability applications. We have a relationship with, I think right now, 14 or 15 different professional counselors in the area that our clients can utilize. And then the final thing that we offer are healing arts programs. So pre-COVID, we had massage, Reiki, and things like that. Since COVID, we've had to change up a little bit, and we're doing some online art classes. So that's kind of in a nutshell what we do. My journey to this is, I actually lost my husband, which would be Dan's, I think, second cousin.
Something like that.
Back in 2007. So prior to that, I was an HR director, and I knew nothing about nonprofit world. But once he passed, I decided, I needed to figure out some way to deal with it. And I actually went back to school to Bluffton University and got a degree in social work. And my thought at the time was, I think I was a hospice volunteer, really enjoyed that. And I thought, gosh, that's what I want to do. Well, about 3 months into the program, this job came open, and I was like, oh, that's perfect. So I've loved it ever since. It's been a blessing. It's a joy to get to do what I do every day.
Yeah. And our family is so proud of you and what you do to honor Farrell. And he and my dad were so close, especially growing up. And what a cool tribute to him, the way you're helping so many other people right now. So I just thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Thank you. It's a joy to be able to do what I do. I can say I've never, I don't call it work. I love to do what I do every day. It's awesome.
Yeah. So how have things, you mentioned a little bit, people can't, there's a lot more stuff you're doing online now. But what are some of the other ways that kind of COVID has affected what you all are doing?
So we actually have been closed to the public since mid-March. So we've been all working remotely, which honestly has worked out, really well. We, I guess personally, I try to find hidden blessings in kind of difficult situations. And one of them is that, we close the office to the public. We're located in the Family Center, great location, but a very busy building. And, when you look at individuals that are, very susceptible to COVID, cancer patients are high up on that list. So made the decision back in mid-March to close the doors to the public and then figure out how we were going to serve them. And, I'm happy to say I have an amazing staff that we just figured it out. And one of the cool things that have come out of it is that we supply medical supplies and equipment. And normally individuals, the clients or family members would come to the office and pick things up. Well, obviously that's not going to work. So we've been delivering things to their home. homes. And, it's one of those things that was like, why were we not doing this all the time? Mm-hmm. So it's something that, once things return back to whatever life is going to look like post-COVID, we're going to continue to do. I mean, these are individuals that, are sick and probably, shouldn't be out anyways, even when there's not COVID around. So it's kind of a pivot in our services that has really worked well for us. So that's kind of been, a good part of COVID. The rest of the services, we've been able to maintain the way we provided them in the past. It's just, we're returning phone calls or maybe doing Zoom calls. We do a lot of Zoom calls. And then probably the biggest thing is just the healing arts with the massage and the Reiki. We haven't quite figured out how to do that virtually yet. So
it's not quite the same over Zoom, is it?
No.
Yeah, rub your own shoulders. No. It doesn't quite do it.
How has COVID affected your funding? I mean, don't you usually do a big chili cook-off and that sort of thing? How has it affected your funding?
So we were super lucky because our chili cook-off was in February, the beginning of February. So we were one of the few that snuck it in before things changed. Now, I will tell you, we are definitely looking at that for next February. Not knowing what it's going to look like, but having 1,200 people in one facility with, 20 teams cooking chili, my guess is it's probably going to look a little different. So we're working right now on how can we, if we can't do it the way we traditionally have, how can we do something virtually? So, as far as the big fundraiser, we were fortunate. Probably where we're seeing the impact is we have a lot of groups or individuals that do what we call third-party fundraisers. So they could be golf outings or bike runs or things like that. And those sorts of things aren't happening right now. So that's been a little challenging. So that's probably one area that we're, concerned about. And then just, going forward, we're actually, the month of August is a special month for us. We use it to celebrate our birthday. So CPS has been around in the community for 74 years now. And I said, I think we all look pretty good for 74. But so we're doing some fun stuff this month. If you've seen any of those flocks of flamingos in people's yards.
Yes, I was going to ask about that. I need to know more. That's one of the things that brings a smile to my face when I'm driving by and I see just flamingos everywhere. Where did that come from, and what are those all about?
So, other people have done it. And, I will say when we, do a fundraiser or do something, we try to figure out, how can it relate back to our mission? I mean, it's just fun to see the flamingos in people's yards. But when we took a look at it, the idea of flamingos flocking around, and we kind of equate that to the way we come around our cancer patients and, lift them up and provide that support. So while it's, a fun thing to see, it does have, meaning to what we do as the agency. So, yeah, if somebody wants to flock a friend or neighbor, and we can definitely do that, incognito, so we can just show up in their yard and deposit some flamingos and some signs, and for a small donation we'll come back and pick them up. Or we've often had people say, okay, now I want to share it with my other friends. So they have been moving from house to house. So it's fun.
Have you been caught trying to put them in somebody's yard and they're very confused?
It's really funny. We did it last summer for the first time, and we'd be doing people's yards, and somebody would be mowing, and what is going on over there? I'm like, I feel proud that we didn't end up in the docket and reported us for any of that, but yeah, we've gotten some looks. So.
It's very, very cool. Dave, do you have any other questions?
No.
Right. Carol, what are some ways that the community can come around and support you guys and support the people who are receiving your services?
Great. So, during this month, we are offering a couple opportunities. If people want to share a gift with us, a financial gift, they can go to our Facebook page, and we have a link that takes them to our donation page. They can also go through our website and make a donation. Somebody asked me, before, how has COVID affected, your clients? And yes, they've had to be extra careful, but, cancer really doesn't stop because of COVID. Mm-hmm. COVID didn't change anything with cancer patients. So we're still doing what we've always been doing. And so we still need the support that we've always received to be able to help our community members.
Yeah, I think that's important. That's part of why I thought it'd be so good to have you on today, because the focus is so primarily on COVID right now, but cancer is still happening.
That's a good point.
Yeah, people are still going through these things, and and we don't want to forget that, and want to be able to continue to support them. So if people have questions or want to flock somebody or any of that, where do they contact you?
Sure. They can call the office at 419-423-0286, or if they want to go to our Facebook page and send us a message, a private message there, they can do that as well, and we monitor that.
All right. Anything else you'd like to share with us?
No, just thanks again for having me on. This is, like I said, August is a fun month for us, so appreciate that. Hear about the organization and what's going on.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for everything that you do, and for what you do for our community and those who are going through a really, really difficult thing. I'm glad that there's an organization like yours to help them walk through it. So thank you so much, and have a great day.
Thanks for having me on. You as well.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.
That's great. Aunt Carol. I don't, second cousin-in-law just doesn't have the same ring. But no, I do think that's important about people are still struggling with other things in life, and I know that COVID is the main thing that everybody's kind of focused on, but yeah, cancer is still happening, all sorts of other really difficult situations. So I'm glad that there are people who still have their eyes on that and are still focused on that. And it does. Have you seen the flocks of flamingos that you've been driving around?
Been in my neighborhood a few times.
Yeah. It's kind of cool. Like I'm going by like, what is happening? Like maybe they just really like flamingos. I don't know. Then you read the sign. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So, yeah. But no, I love what they do, coming in and really helping people get through the worst thing they've experienced in their life, and how rewarding that must be, and especially for Carol having lost her husband. Yeah. What a cool way we're going through a sermon series right now. We just started called Redeemed, where and the whole idea of redemption is that you take this thing that was broken, this thing that's full of pain and hurt and sorrow and suffering, and through Christ it can become something beautiful.
Absolutely.
And I really think that's what she's been able to do, is she's taken this hardest thing in her life, in losing her husband to cancer, and has redeemed that story. In helping others. It's so beautiful. I absolutely love that. So yeah, just that whole idea of redemption, and that's just something that's really been on my mind a lot, of how are we going to redeem this time we're in? How is God already redeeming it? How is God already taking this and turning it into something beautiful? And I just think that those stories, people's stories, and that's why we're doing the series we're doing, people's stories are so impactful in helping us to understand how God works in the world.
Yeah, they're impactful because it's proof. Mm-hmm. If you, the number one, people always kind of ask us, being in the profession we're in, when my friends question me, how do I respond? Well, the easiest response to give is, this is what having Christ in my life has done for me. This is how I've been transformed or redeemed by having Jesus in my life. And so that's what I can tell you is my life is different because of Jesus. And he always had this, particularly when he was going through all the miracles, Jesus always had this soft spot in his heart for those who were physically broken. But as you read the text, you see that they were also broken in other ways. And that Jesus' heart always went to those people, and I think he used it as proof of miracle because it's an obvious redemption.
Well, and so like that reminds me of the miracle story of the man blind from birth, and his story of redemption that comes through that. It starts off with Jesus saying, do you want to be healed? And he gives him his sight, and then he's questioned by the religious leaders, and the religious leaders say, who is this Jesus guy? What's he been doing? The guy says, I don't know. Here's what I know. And it's the famous line that's now in Amazing Grace. I once was blind, but now I see. Like that's his testimony. But then it gets even better because Jesus comes back to him, and this guy ends up becoming a follower of Jesus. And so not only was he changed physically, but he was changed, spiritually as well through this time. And I shared this at church on Sunday, but my mission statement for my life that I've kind of figured out is that I help to create, facilitate, and communicate stories of life change through Jesus Christ. Like that's my job.
That could be your award too.
In a nutshell. That's my award.
Yeah, that could be your award too.
I like that.
Which, by the way, Kelly had one.
Kelly had an idea for my award.
For your award, yeah. She said you could get an award for creative quarantine family activities.
That is something that we did try to do. I've slowed down, but yeah, I need to get back in the game on that because we did have some, especially at the beginning. We had.
Well, Kelly could make up her own awards, the Quarantine Queen Awards.
Yeah,
because she did several videos. But
she's got videos on there all the time now. Hilarious.
But
she's
back to Jesus.
Yes, back to Jesus. So when I say, I guess I kind of look at it in three ways for my mission statement. The first is, create stories of life change through Christ, which is me personally, helping someone's life change through Christ, like having that relationship with that person and that personal kind of walk with them. And really it's the Holy Spirit doing the creating, but it's God using me to help create stories of life change in someone's life. Facilitate which is really my favorite, is where I help run the system that helps people have life change through Christ, whether it's the church or just helping some volunteers or somebody, like helping others become disciples who make disciples. Like that's what I really love. And then communicate, which is my other favorite part. All three are my favorite. Is I think it's so important to tell these stories. Yeah. To not just have the story, but to tell them. And I think everybody who's in Christ has a story of redemption, has a story of their life changing in some way. And if you have a relationship with Christ and your life hasn't radically changed in some way, you might want to dig in a little bit deeper, because there's some transformation. All of us need transformed, need changed in some way. That's why I really appreciated Lois's testimony this last week. Lois Tietzorth gave her testimony, 86 years old, and talking about how God is daily changing her heart and like recreating her. And, so many of us get in this place where we think that being, stuck in our ways is a spiritual gift, but she's recognized that even at 86, like, there's stuff in my life that needs fixed, that needs changed. And I love that. And so I'm so thankful she shared her story and helping people to share their story.
So she's important. Closer to 90 than she is to 80.
Yes.
And it's funny to listen to her work because she goes to a Pentecostal church.
Yeah. She also, when she's not with us, she's at a Pentecostal church. Yes.
And just to listen to her talk, because they play, I would say, ultra contemporary.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, very modern hits, and it's the full arms in the air, everything. Mm-hmm. And she just eats it up.
Oh, yeah.
Which you talk about not being stuck in your ways. I mean, and she just, she goes on and on and on about how much she appreciates that music and that outpouring.
And that's what's so great is that she recognizes that, man, even now, even at this point in my life, and she's been a Christian, I think she said she was 13 years old. But even now, she feels like, man, there's still stuff that God can fix. There's still things that need redeemed in my life. There's still things that can happen. But you're right. She does dig she's an organist who digs the contemporary stuff, and I love it. James, when you were playing Awesome God the other day, man, she was getting down.
Yeah.
She was getting down. She was having a good time.
But I bring that up because it just reiterates your point how moldable she is.
Yeah.
Even at
And
almost
that's,
90.
I aspire to that. I aspire to never be a person who says, you know what, I think I'm there now.
Yeah.
I think I'm good enough now. There's always things that can be redeemed. And, there's always new experiences in my life that can be redeemed. God can constantly take our experiences, the things that happen in or to or around us, and do something new with them, which is why I'm there's not a good way to say this. The exciting thing about COVID, to me, I know that's a terrible start to a sentence. The exciting thing about COVID is that the worse something is, the cooler the redemption.
Yes.
At the
I
end
would
of the
say
day,
that's-
the worse something is, the more awesome it is to see God take it and turn it into something beautiful. And whether that's a total transformation of the church, or the start of some sort of revival, or whatever it might be, we are finding I'm finding that God is still working in the midst of all of this. And I can't wait to be able to look back on this in 10, 20 years and say, holy moly, this happened because, because we were in this time. We were in this time, and God took one of the lowest points of my lifetime, right, as far as how things are nationally and worldwide, and he's doing something beautiful. He
Absolutely.
did something beautiful out of it.
And it just shows that he is a conqueror. We're talking a lot about the physical ailments and that sort of thing, but we also need to remember the big oftentimes Jesus healed people, and it was because other people looked at him and say, what did you do to get like this? There was a belief for millenniums that, look at Job. Well,
What did you,
you're messed
your
up.
sin.
So what did you do? What did your parents do to bring this on you? And Jesus comes and just says, look, I not only conquer physical ailments, but I cover all sin too. And that's even the biggest transformation that we have is just those heart checks that we give ourselves when we fall in love with Jesus. Like,
yeah.
I probably shouldn't. I just said this and this and this. What, as a follower of Jesus, I better check my heart because I feel convicted now. So it changes your life in so many ways beyond physical ailments.
Going along with that, and I'm getting a little off topic here, but what you said really sparked something for me. We know that it's not God's punishment. You're sick because God's punishing you. But we say it differently to each other now. And I'm not going to get political, but there seems to be this tendency for us now to say, well, you are or aren't sick because of your correct political ideology. You are or aren't sick because you believe this about masks, or you believe this, or whatever else. Like when Governor DeWine ended up being a false positive test that he got, I was so sad to see people saying things like, well, how's that mask working out for you now? Or things like that. And it's like, this is a human being with a family, and it's a virus. It's a virus, and it's a global pandemic, and it's a hard thing. I don't wish it on anyone. And as followers of Christ, I hope we are better than rubbing someone's political ideology in their face when it or if they get sick.
Yeah.
It's just, and it's going to happen as schools reopen. It's going to happen as things kind of get ramped back up. People are going to get sick, and I would just I would just encourage everybody, instead of using it as a time to say, haha, gotcha, use it as a time to show some compassion and empathy to others.
How about we use it as a time away from social media?
Might not be the worst idea either.
A little bit. I mean, I know I've backed mine way down.
Yeah.
And just the other day, I'm going to try and be as obscure as you are. Somebody I really appreciate that I really admire and had a post about a political party, and the column was Nazis over here and this political party on the other side, and everything was in check marks. Socialism, like.
Yeah.
And basically, it even came down to hates Jews. I'm like, can you just think before you hit that repost button?
Yeah.
Please?
We can use a little more kindness right now.
Yes.
Gosh, where's Mr. Rogers when you need him?
And this should be bringing us together. And that,
Yeah.
And Jesus should be bringing us together, too.
Absolutely. And that's what I hope that I worry about this election cycle, that we are really tearing each other apart. And man, Jesus is this third way. Yeah. You know, he's this other way there is no political candidate that exists that encompasses everything that Jesus encompasses. Jesus is so much greater, so much higher, and that's where our allegiance has to lie. And I know that in our church, and I'm sure in almost every church, there are people on other sides, both sides of the political aisle, but there's something greater that we're called to than our allegiance to any individual or any political party. It's something bigger than that. And the Sunday after November 3rd, which would be the 9th or whatever, 8th, I don't know. Jesus is going to be the one who's still on the throne, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus is the one who we're going to gather together and worship. That's what matters most. So I've gotten off on a tangent here, but I do that sometimes. Maybe that's what the Dan Metzger Award can be.
Yeah.
Going off on rambling tangents. Getting really passionate and being obscure.
Well done, sir.
Yeah,
well done.
That's what I do. I know. So, wrapping it up, couple things. James, anything in the comment section we need to know about?
I do not think so.
Okay. So I saw just before we started that Corinne posted Spark online. So make sure you check that out with your kiddos and enjoy that. Also, really exciting day at the Adkins household because they're building a big, beautiful wall. The fence is going up, and it's exciting, and I'm happy for you.
Yep, we're happy as well.
So now that you have the fence, does that mean you're gonna get chickens again?
We need more of a fence than what we have now, I think, but we're working on it. It's one step in the right direction.
Yeah. Well, right. Dave's chickens are just gonna end up in your backyard one day.
With a note.
With a note. Please take care of these.
Thank you for taking
It's just
care
like,
of these.
Is that what Carol was talking about? Flocking someone's yard?
Yeah.
Like instead of flamingos, Dave brings live chickens.
Yeah.
All right. Church 10 a.m. On Sunday in the dock. Again, unless we become a red county, which we find out about those tomorrow, we become a red county, it'll all be online. But otherwise, we will be in the dock. I have a great story this week of 4 people. It's 4 people's stories, really, and how they kind of became a family, and it's beautiful. So hope that you will be there with us for that. So am I forgetting anything?
I think you're good.
All right. It was good to see you today, buddy.
Good to see you, man.
James, what is our mystery instrument of the day?
It can't be different every week, but I have a tenor banjo to say.
Well, let's do that.
It's not in tune, though, probably, so this might be terrible.
Well, that's all right. I believe in you.
Let's find out.
Banjolele.
It's Church chat with Pastors Dan and Dave. Come hang out with us on our stream. It's Church Chat Wednesday.
I am so impressed.
It worked.
So impressed. Thank you for being with us. We will see you guys later.
See you next time.